That's it. Oh, yes, I want to share the tab audio. Hang on. Okay, I don't want that. Nope, I don't
Lauren,
want
does
either.
Steve Cheese still have your phone number? Or?
Man, Steve Cheese is dead. Like, Steve Cheese is dead. So, Samantha,
Brutal.
blah, 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 take your shirt off. I mean, I'm. What makes you think I'm wearing one? I'm not on the camera right now. So, thank you, though. Okay. All right.
Are we not supposed to be on camera? I feel a little conspicuous
Bruce,
here.
you're the only guy on camera right now. I look how I feel, so I'm not going to be on camera.
Well, I warned I was going to be on my phone because on Father's Day and it's beat, and I left my mic at the office, and so.
Yeah. All right, let me play this again. You tell me if you hear it.
Low level. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yes.
Well,
you do hear that?
Mm-hmm.
The hell was that?
That was the clip we're going to go over.
The
so
podcast.
This is the the psychologist is going over this Laura Owens case on the podcast. And she's somebody that I'm familiar with, so I want to just point that out. Like, I obviously have a preconceived kind of opinion of this person. She is the one that was commenting on Justin, and she was saying like Justin is an abuser and a love bomber and all this crazy ass stuff based on that like 2 a.m. voice note he sent to Blake. But then she left out the fact that Blake had messaged him at 1:45 a.m. and then also was saying like all this crazy stuff about how he's, you know, a creepy stalker based on just like the things that he was saying. It's obvious that he was like placating her, but you know, her opinions on that whole thing were just so bizarre. And she was like using her license, like the full weight of her license, to say this man is an abuser. And so she's now commenting on this case with Clayton and Laura. And she didn't say too much about it, thank God, because her takes are dog shit. And I don't want to talk too much about the podcast as a whole because I don't know these people. I don't know their general feelings or thoughts or opinions or how closely they've been following this case. So I'm just going to play a little bit of it, just the part where they were talking about Laura. And you guys can tell me what you think about her diagnosis, because this forensic psychologist is giving a full-fledged diagnosis online of Laura, who she knows little to nothing about. So we'll listen to this for a second.
I mean, she seems ill though. I mean, like, how rich is this guy? What do you get? Like 30 grand?
He's like
for being
low
on The
level.
Bachelor?
That's what I'm saying. Like, well, I don't think he's that rich if he had to go into real estate after being on reality television. And she's the daughter of a famous radio host.
Yeah.
So you want to assume she comes from some wealthy situation. I don't know if this is just some sick mind game she likes playing on.
The person talking is the podcast host. Like, the person with a higher pitched voice is the podcast host. Like I said, I don't fault the podcast, so I don't want to harp on her or anything, but just listen to what the actual licensed psychologist has to say.
Guys that reject her, or...
Well, you know, I would say like erotomanic delusional disorder, which is stalking, right? It's a love-based, sex-based, infatuation-based obsession with somebody, and you can't.
So this person, based on 3 seconds of research, is using their entire license issued by the APA to just say that she has an erotomanic stalker disorder. A thing that's not even a diagnosis, right? But she's like saying this is specifically.
Did she make that up? Is that a?
What? Yeah. What even is? Can you explain that to us, Lauren? We don't know what that is.
Like I said, this is the same person who decided that Justin was an abuser based on the fact that he sent a voice note at 2 a.m. with like leaving out the fact that he sent one, was responding to one that was sent at 1:45. And she also circulated all these fake HR complaints against Justin that TMZ wouldn't even touch. So like, it's that bad. Like, she's that fucking bad. I don't understand how she's able to get away with this, but like, she said, let's play it back. Hang on.
Yeah, and can you explain what these terms mean?
I can explain them, but I can't make them make sense in this context because they fucking don't.
Some sick mind game she likes playing on guys that reject her, or...
Well, you know, I would say like erotomanic delusional disorder, which is stalking, right? It's a love-based, sex-based, infatuation-based obsession with somebody.
You know what? I'm gonna fact check myself here. Hang on.
Love, sex, infatuation, based. Are those not 3 different things?
Hold on.
Yeah, and she says this complicated phrase and then says it's basically stalking, which we've seen. I mean, stalking is sort of this general term, right? We've seen Laura do things that you could classify as stalking, right?
Right. Well, thank you, Shizzy, by the way. I see that incoming raid. Thank you very much. So, okay, here's erotomanic delusional disorder. Okay. Not a DSM-5 diagnosis, but
is this a page you can share or no?
I can, but it's like fucking Wikipedia, you know? So, like, take a little bit of salt with this. A type of delusional disorder where an individual has a fixed false belief that another person, often of a higher social status, is in love with them. Okay. So, if you take bits and pieces of Laura's story, and you just think about like, hang on, sorry, let me share the fucking thing.
Is that, yeah, can you share it? It sounds like that's the thing, like when people, when fans like stalk,
right, and she's going to get into that in a minute, and she's going to compare this to that, which is
and they have
very,
to get
very,
a restraining order to keep them from breaking into their house.
Right,
isn't there a singer who has some stalker like that?
There's a bunch. There's a bunch, and she's going to talk about that in a minute, and she's going to compare them like they're the same thing, but she knows nothing about these people. So she's first of all thinking that Clayton is some like super rich guy, high social status. Well, like he was the Bachelor, but let's be honest, like I would tell Clayton this because we just talked about this. Like he's the most like one of the most hated bachelors of all time.
Well,
so, like, he doesn't have a high social status.
The other thing is that Laura's been doing this with different. She's had relationship issues with different guys, and none of them are even minor celebrities, let alone actual celebrities.
Yeah. Greedy Gambler says, so far I don't hear a diagnosis, just talking with a friend type of talk. So I actually cut this audio, so you can't hear a lot of it. And the reason I did that is because I don't want people to shit on the podcast as a whole, because they're doing what they're supposed to do, which is reaching out to a professional with qualifications that is supposed to act like a professional. And this person, Leslie Dobson, who is a doctor for some reason, is not doing that. So you know, they're doing what they're supposed to. So I cut out a lot of this where it's just like them talking because I don't want it to sound like I'm shitting on the podcast host because I'm not. This is totally the psychiatrist or the psychologist. Sorry, she's a forensic psychologist that I'm talking about. So, okay. Erotomanic delusional disorder. So this, I feel like if you took bits and pieces of everything that's happened and you totally ignored some really important context, sure, that would make sense. And that's kind of like, she sounds like she's done about 5 minutes of research on this. And so that is an irresponsible thing to do when you're a licensed forensic psychologist, to say somebody has this specific diagnosis. Like nobody credible, nobody who's like acting in an ethical way, nobody who cares much about the license is going to say something like that. And so that's what like kind of ticked me off a little bit.
Was she like trying to officially diagnose or just offering like a guess?
No, she's like there's no guessing here. Hold on, because I didn't cut this part of the audio.
I think what you'd want, Omar, is you'd want someone to say, look, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, criminal psychologist, whatever their job is. And because of my job function, I cannot diagnose someone I haven't interviewed. You'd want them to have a whole preface.
Yeah.
Right.
And
like
once
once
you get through a preamble, you can say, in this case, this whether it's Lori Daybell or Laura Owens or whoever, they could say there are activities here that are reminiscent or that remind us of these type of things. Like you're going to have very guarded language when you're discussing these. And I think the problem here is we don't hear those
Bruce,
preambles.
You and I, it was just the three of us, you, me, and my dad, who's also a forensic psychologist. And my family's full of licensed psych people, and he would not fucking comment on this.
Exactly. Like, that's exactly what he did. He said, here's what my job is. Here are the things I do in my job. And as part of my job, I have to go interview someone for 8 hours or take notes. And then I give my confidential notes to the judge or whoever needs it, the prosecutor, because they're going to figure out what, sentence to go after or whatever they might be doing. And so they can only talk in very abstract terms. Like, here's what a medical dictionary might say about something. And then I'm not saying that's what this person has, right? So they're going to have very guarded conversations.
Have you guys ever listened to Dr. Grande?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Grande does shit the right way. So like he's a really good, smart guy, and he also makes sure that he's not saying this person has this or this person has this. He talks about different behaviors and what that could mean. He talks about different scenarios and what could be going on there. And he also qualifies that with, this is my personal opinion. And so he doesn't like diagnose the way this lady is doing. And it's so like the way that and we haven't even gotten to this part of the recording yet, where she's like saying things definitively about Laura's behavior based on the diagnosis she has decided to give her based on 3 seconds of research. So like, hold on, let me play a little bit more of this.
Well, wait, hold on. For this, what is it called? Erotomanic delusional disorder.
Right.
I mean, to me, this reads, when I read this, it sounds like somebody was talking about the guy who he thinks he's dating Katy Perry, but he's not.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sounds like this kind of thing.
Right. And
which doesn't sound to me at all like the Owens v. Eckerd case.
The guy who thinks he's dating Katy Perry didn't send her a fucking dating contract. You know what
I
I
mean?
Or like take her to court. Well, like that's stupid.
Yeah. I mean,
Spotted Tiger 89. I'm an LCSW, so licensed clinical social worker, which is different than a psychologist, but we have similar ethical codes. We are not supposed to diagnose public figures we haven't evaluated. It's a big no-no. And I agree.
Good point.
I agree. And that's why I had such a problem with this woman when I first saw her talking about Justin, because she's like, Justin's an abuser. Justin's a gaslighter, a love bomber. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You've listened to 30 seconds of a voice clip out of context. You're intentionally leaving out very important context. And that's when I first like red flags went off. I was like, something's wrong with how you're practicing here. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, I don't want to shit on her too much personally, but her opinion in these cases is absolute dog shit. I can't speak to who she is as a person, but her opinions on these cases is batshit. Like I can't even think of a credible thing to say about how she feels about these cases, because I'm like, you're basing this off of fucking nothing and these fake HR complaints that you circulated when TMZ would not. So like oh my god. She annoys me so much. All right, let me just play a little bit more of this. Let's move over here. Okay, we need to listen to some more of what she has to say. It's only a 4-minute clip, but we need to get through it.
We're not hearing anything right now. Lauren, are you playing this clip?
You can't hear it?
No. Not anymore.
What's happening? Hang on. Oh, it's because I switched the tab. Fuck.
Yeah.
I was listening to that the whole time. Hang on.
No.
All right. Let me move back to like 30 seconds here. Okay. Here we go.
Right. It's a love-based, sex-based, infatuation-based obsession with somebody. And you can't, they don't know that it's not reality. And there does come a point where it switches to other people and other objects.
They don't know that it's not reality is not a thing that you can really say when someone buys a fake baby bump. But all right, go on, Leslie.
And then oftentimes it switches back, which is scary. But if they're not stalking you, they're stalking someone else. So at least you can be relieved that they're stalking someone else. So if she can move on, he would probably feel a lot better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's an entire website devoted to victims of her. There's multiple guys on there with their whole stories of what she put them through. And he was very gleeful when the indictment came through.
Maybe you should have forwarded that website to your expert here.
Because he had been living in this absolute hell for, I guess, 2 years now. This has been going on.
It's kind of like baby reindeer-ish. Like, yes. It gives that vibe.
Hold on. You guys heard that, right? The baby reindeer thing?
Baby reindeer-ish.
Okay. So the baby reindeer-ish thing, I've heard that comparison a lot, and I want to pause it right here because I actually disagree that it's like baby reindeer. What would you guys have to say? Like, you think it's like baby reindeer or it's not like baby reindeer, and why? Bruce, you first. Why?
Well, I mean, there are attributes of each story that have similarities, like a lot of texting, for example. Mm-hmm. We've seen that in both cases.
Sure. Both really fucking weird people. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And, just the strange behavior and some of the stalking aspects in at least the dramatization I watched of the Baby Reindeer show.
Right.
And I know the show isn't 100% true to life, apparently, so I don't know all the differences. But, you know, I think people pick out those surface level similarities and just, it's sort of like a thing to get you in the door. Like, any analogy is never going to be perfect, but I think the only benefit it has is if somebody's seen Baby Reindeer and it's like, okay, here's a situation, there's psychological aspects, there's some things that are happening that may be criminal. And if you say, oh, if you like that, you may want to get into this Owens v. Eckerd case. It's not because they're exactly identical. It's just sort of a hook to maybe open the door. And I think that's as far as you could go, maybe.
Yeah. Well, Snitzel, what do you think?
I have to be honest. I have not seen Baby Reindeer yet.
What the fuck?
Because I, at a point for months and months and months, was balls deep in this case. And I started watching it and I was like, I cannot even comprehend what's happening right now. Like my brain is too, like, there's too much with this Owens shit in it. And so I just haven't watched it yet. But I know the basics. I know that she texted a lot. I know like she showed up to his work. I know that he kind of
it was very
semi-entertained.
She assaulted another woman he was with. She also raped him. So like there was a lot going on there she was very, very delusional, obviously, and this is obviously just a portrayal. I can't speak to the actual case between Martha and Richard or whatever.
Well, and I know even on Piers Morgan, like she completely denied, like she does not think she's crazy. Like
no, she seems like very ill to me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think the real difference is. I think she really, really has a mental illness.
Right.
And Laura has something. She has something going on, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're different. I think they're I think they're different severities.
I'm not gonna say it's an erotomanic whatever disorder that she's saying. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, I don't think it's that either, because Laura's also very I can't think of the words right now. She plans like
methodical.
Yes, thank you. Very methodical. Yes, and she plans like 5-10 steps ahead. A lot of the time she plants things so that when they come up later, she can say, oh, it's because of this or because of that or this happened. And like you said, the fake baby belly, like Bruce said, I mean, there are certain aspects that are
there's surface
similar.
level things. I actually think if you want to compare, if you were going to make a documentary of the Owens v. Eckerd case and compare it to something, I would say the better comparison is Don't Fuck with Cats. Because in the Owens v. Eckerd case, the community and people like Dave Neal figuring out what's true, what's not true, is someone committing a crime here? Is someone lying? That's more akin to the online sleuthing that you saw in Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if Omar can hear us. Omar?
I can hear you. I have never seen Baby Reindeer, so I have nothing.
Man, what are you guys doing? Like, even I've seen Baby Reindeer, and I have no time.
I mean, I saw it, but
I just wanted to point out this comment. We got also this comment, Erica P. This is totally a fine conversation for a podcast between podcasters, not between a podcaster and a licensed doctor. And I 100% agree with that. That's my problem. It's not that she has a different opinion. It's that she uses her license to qualify her opinions, and she states them as facts when she goes on all these different media outlets. And especially when I've seen her push things that TMZ refused to push because they were so uncredible. Like, that's fucking nuts. If you're a doctor and you're pushing stuff that like TMZ won't touch, there's a lot wrong with you in the way that you practice. So,
do we know what her credentials are though? Like,
I think she's a PsyD. She's a forensic psychologist, but like, you know what? Anybody can, I guess, technically get a degree from.
I was going to say, from where though?
You can get like a fucking PsyD online and not get an actual accredited degree. But like, I don't know enough about her to really say that, so take that with a grain of salt. But at the same time, it's like she's now commenting on multiple high-profile cases where she's like pushing all this nonsense. And I'm like, who actually gave you that degree? Because if they actually gave you a degree and you're actually credentialed with like the appropriate kind of boards and stuff like that, you're not going to be commenting like this. So what actually are you doing?
So maybe she's just like an amateur.
I don't
posing as like a professional person.
I can't say that because I don't know, and I don't want to be like her. So I'm not going to be like, well, she's not, because I don't fucking know. Because the thing is, unfortunately, when you hear people like this talk, it's an embarrassment to the APA. And then you can find out, like, hey, it actually doesn't mean that you're not a dumbass if you get a degree. So it sucks. I hate that. But Jesus.
I mean, the best we can do is just point out, hey, look, normally when people have this qualification, this job title, they need to be prefacing their public statements in a certain way. They need to stick to the topics in a certain manner and not try to online diagnose and that kind of thing, and just educate people that that's the sort of expectation we have traditionally.
Yeah. Okay. So let me try to get through the rest of this clip without us interrupting too much, just so we can get through it, and then we'll comment on it. But like, I want to emphasize here because I want to emphasize here, I'm not commenting on the podcast that she's on. I'm not commenting on the host of the podcast. I have nothing against them. I have a problem with this doctor in general. So, and I don't call out a lot of creators directly. I don't like to do that. I don't like to start fights. I don't like to say things that are going to like cause problems with people. But like when you go this far, it's too much for me. So like, let me just play the rest of this and then we'll talk about it.
Vibe of,
can you hear that?
He gave just enough. He did engage with her. And then that when somebody is mentally compromised, it doesn't take much for them to misread signals and cues. And I would imagine he replied to her at the beginning, he kind of like, he didn't probably set a really firm boundary. He was probably.
Oh my God, I made it 3 seconds. Fuck you. What the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Did she say didn't set a firm boundary?
Correct. She said didn't set a firm boundary. I mean, blocking 13 fucking phone numbers. I guess that wasn't enough. What the fuck, Leslie?
Trying to be kind, it continued, and then he was like, "Whoa, my God, this is getting fucking insane." Just kind of like how Baby Reindeer played out, and that's how a lot of delusions and stalking scenarios play out.
There are no delusions here. If you're delusional, you don't go to Fiverr.com to get an ultrasound. Like, that's not a thing. You don't do that. I've known many patients who were delusions of pregnancy, and they did not do that shit. They just believe that they're pregnant. They believe everything they're saying is true. That's a delusion.
Yeah.
A delusion is not going to make an appointment with a fucking fertility specialist and then not showing up and then being, oh, look, I'm a patient of a fucking fertility specialist. You're a moron.
Yeah. I saw the doctor last Friday.
It is so scary to think you're just having a casual hookup with somebody one time and then it just ends up following you for the next couple years of your life.
And maybe forever, right? I mean, she could just continue to try and find ways unless she's...
Yeah, and you could just continue to find ways to get clout for your stupid fucking opinions, Leslie. But here we are.
Imprisoned.
And Stalking is so scary. Oh my God, yeah. Like when you hear some of the stories about it, it's just like there was this, I think it was on Nancy Grace was talking about it actually, like an actress that was having a stalker and stuff and like having your children involved and just being scared. And I can't even imagine that. What causes, is it the same thing you were just talking about? That's what causes people to do that?
So here's my problem with what she's about to say next. It's not even that she's talking about these other people. It's not that she's incorrect. It's that she's comparing it to this situation that she clearly knows nothing about. And like, if you just listen to the first few seconds of what I played, even when I cut off the beginning of this clip, it was like, how rich is this guy? It's like, you know nothing about this guy. You know nothing about him at all. And you're commenting on this as if you're a fucking expert and you're giving a definitive diagnosis and you're talking about, oh, she's so sick and like all these horrible things. And like, fuck you. You don't actually know anything at all. Don't qualify anything that you're saying with your license, especially if you haven't read anything. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
And I'm wondering, Lauren, so with stalking, it's almost like they're asking, like, explain why someone stalks, as if there's one answer. Is there just one answer? Like, I suspect there's not.
Right. Hang on, sorry, I was reading something else. There's one answer to stalking. Is that what you said? There's like one
in this podcast. It sounds like they're saying like, oh, we've seen stalking in aspects in this case. Baby Reindeer, a celebrity. And then she says, please explain why the stalking happens, as if there's one reason.
No, you can be a weird fucking stalker for a number of reasons. It could be like, I want my money back. It could be like, I'm in love with you and I'm stalking you. It could be...
You cut me off on the highway.
Right, exactly. Like, I don't like what you did to me and I'm mad and now I want to get paid back. It could be anything. There's a million different reasons you might stalk someone. Not me personally, but Bruce, he totally would. So
And
like,
if
there's a million different reasons.
Yeah, and if you explain, like the delusional, like the guy who thinks he's dating Katy Perry, if he stalks her, that's going to be a different situation than, say, the Owens v. Eckerd case or even the baby reindeer case, right?
Right. And like, just like I said, I try really hard not to just like come down on other people on YouTube and whatever like this, but like at the same time, when you piss me off this much about two separate things, especially when it's people I know, it's like, please stop. Just stop. Just go get some more fucking clients. Why don't you have a fucking job? You're a doctor. Get a fucking job.
I mean, all we can do is sort of take the information we hear and try to react to it rationally and explain where they're going off
now, Bruce.
I know, but where they're going off all we can do is say, look, here's where they're going to go off the rails. Here's what, and what can we learn from it?
Bruce is the nicest looking stalker, man. I mean, I would take candy from Bruce's van. I would.
Oh, I wish I had
Omar,
some candy.
You were trying to say something, Omar? What's up?
Yes.
What's up?
I don't know why I said it like that, but I was going to ask you if you're aware of this lady named Caitlin Braun. She was this lady.
Sorry, 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Stop the F word. It's crass. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. I don't give a shit. Just leave.
Oh boy.
I don't care. Just don't watch. Just leave. I don't give a shit. Sorry, Omar. What did you say?
I found the best way to get Lauren to stop swearing is Venmo her 20 grand and she'll do a video where she doesn't swear.
It's definitely to tell me to stop swearing. I don't give a fuck what you think about it. Just shut up and go away. Anyways, what were we saying?
Okay, so there's this lady named Caitlin Braun. She was from Canada, and she had this fetish where she wanted to like pretend like she was pregnant. And she would have all of these doulas that would come to the house. And that's like somebody that helps you through your pregnancy pains or whatever as you're going through delivery. So she claimed that she was raped by her brother, some kind of violent sexual assault. And she claimed that she was pregnant. And it was weird because she would like full on, like fake all of the symptoms of pregnancy, from the contractions to like whatever the medical stuff. She even would go to like the doctors and like have these private sessions. And there was even one time where, holy shit, it looks like there's a baby's heartbeat in there. She carried this on for like a full-term pregnancy until obviously we had to clear that she wasn't actually pregnant. She ended up getting arrested for it. I'm pretty sure she's in jail right now. But what you were describing was,
is she having a baby in jail? Is that a thing?
No, she's not having a baby.
Didn't think so.
What would you diagnose?
Just to let you know, Dr. Leslie Dobson says that she is. So.
Oh.
I made that up. Sorry.
God damn it, Lauren.
God damn it! Fuck.
My question was, what would you diagnose somebody like that? She literally knew she was not pregnant, but she would fake all of the symptoms for the purposes of gaining the attention that came with being pregnant, and for the purpose of assaulting and taking advantage and harassing these voluntary doulas that were missioned to help her through her fake pregnancy.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I lost you there.
All right.
Someone else, please.
I don't have the answer. That was
also Omar. Haven't you learned we're not diagnosing people?
No, but I'm just you know what? I'm just going to refrain
not a licensed psychologist, so it's fine. He can say whatever.
I just want to know, what does that sound like? Is there a mental illness that you could tie to that without diagnosing anybody?
Well, it sounds to me like I have to take a piss, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
Do you, Omar? You followed that's the Braun case, you said?
Caitlin Braun, yeah.
Do you think that she is delusional and truly believes these claims she's making, or do you think she's doing this for some other purpose?
No, I think that she's 100% addicted to the feeling of being a person in need. Like in her specific case, she would fake nosebleeds, like medical conditions. Whenever she wasn't getting attention from her friends, she would send herself to urgent care and take.
I went to high school with a girl like that, who middle and high school, she always had like some kind of health ailment, a letter from the doctor, like always something was going on, and it was for attention. I think it was for attention.
Right, but I just wonder, like, at some point in the process of her doing this for so long, like faking these symptoms of pregnancy, like it becomes such a part of her identity that perhaps the delusions, well, perhaps what she knew fundamentally that she was not pregnant becomes a delusion of sorts after a period of time.
It's almost
So
like an
repeatedly
addiction.
faking. Yeah.
Like
And so,
she knows it's not right, but she can't stop herself from doing it. Like she has to do it. And like you said, this is her identity, like being the victim. She has to find more people to make her a victim.
Chad is mentioning malingering, Munchausen's. I mean, these are things people can look up and
see.
I guess my medical question would literally be like,
I want to check out this case, though. It sounds interesting.
At what point does your intellectual knowledge become subservient to your subconscious desire to have this identity, where you've deluded yourself into thinking and now genuinely believe that you're pregnant, in spite of the fact in the background, now buried in your subconscious, is this intellectual knowledge that you're faking the whole thing? And I needed more Neidigh to answer that question, but she is a...
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah, you're right. To me, the question is like, is this a hard line, like something discrete? Like you either have delusional thoughts or you don't, or is it more of a spectrum where you could be more or less delusional in different gradients? And I think that's maybe an interesting question we would need an expert to answer.
Right. So what else is up?
Where did Lauren go?
She went to
the restroom.
Restroom.
But I mean, yeah, the things they're talking about with stalking and these celebrity cases and people who are delusional to the point of doing very odd things, I really don't think it fits with this Owens v. Eckerd case, from what I've heard so far on this podcast. I mean, like you were saying, right?
Not.
In the Owens v. Eckerd
I
case,
guess
we've got a lot of methodical behavior, deceptive behavior. I would classify it more like, in layman terms, like personality disorders, not something like delusions.
And not autism.
I mean, yeah.
That's totally autism.
Not autism, yeah.
In my unlicensed opinion, Leslie, that's awesome. For sure. What the fuck, man?
I will say, Mike Maricini's wife is a psychologist, and
so what does she know? No,
well,
I'm totally kidding.
No, there are opinions.
No, I get it. I get it. I totally get it. Hang on, let me make sure I'm not missing.
Sorry, opinions about what? I think my dog.
I'm trying to find this Rich Lieberman video, and then I saw one that was recent. I don't know if it's actually about Ron, but the comments just say "Happy Father's Day" to everyone but Ron Owens.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my god, what is this video even about? Hang on. All right. Let me pull up. Let's see.
He basically is kind of starting to see the light, or that the light is possibly there.
Yeah, I have little faith that's gonna last. I feel like this guy is somebody who's been wanting to be a friend of Ron, and this is just my opinion. Somebody who's been wanting to be a friend of Ron for a while, and so every time he gets close to the point, Ron and Jan reach out, and he's like, "No, never mind." And so I'm a little skeptical. Yeah. All right, let's see. This I can pull the screen up for if I share it. We're close. I don't know what we're close means, or if it has anything to do with the actual.
Who's that?
Sunday, happy.
This is not the new video, Lauren.
Okay, I didn't think so. I was just checking because the transcript is not available. So, there it is.
It looks like that guy
Father's
from
Day,
Whiplash.
blah,
The
blah,
newest
blah, blah,
video
blah, blah.
has something about Ron in the title. I'll know it if I see it.
Hang on. Blah, 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 blah. Hang on. Come on, Ron. My take on.
Which Lieberman?
This has got to be it, right?
I have the
This
link.
is
You
it.
need
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Here we
This
go.
is it. All right. It's 21 minutes long. I mean, oh, there's Bruce's comment. The problem with the GFM is lack of transparency. Show receipts of medical bills. Do a fixed amount GFM, then show the receipts for the paid bills. That would be transparency, accountability, and reflect adult responsibility. And then Dave just says, appreciate the honesty. I haven't heard it yet, so let me play this. Hang on.
Please play it at like 1.75 times. Otherwise,
Okay.
it will feel like it's on 0.5.
I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but at the same time, hang on. Let me.
Oh
do
boy.
this where I'll pull it up.
Are you
in the
trying to
chat.
pull out the? I don't know where the key points in this video are.
No.
You might want to review the
I'm pulling up the
transcripts.
transcript so I can read through it while it's playing. Hang on, give me 1 second.
Because there's a big preamble about like
Playback 1.75.
the old days in radio, and
We're gonna
all
pull
this.
through that. How about that? How about we skip through the first couple minutes and then we'll go from
It
there.
still is in a case having to do with a former Bachelor television show contestant, and she has been accused of perjury, of some very serious accusations, and frankly, it's a serious situation. In fact, Laura Owens, his daughter, was indicted by an Arizona grand jury, and so we will have a case involving Laura Owens. Unless it's settled, I don't see that coming. We will have a case pending. We have a case pending, and so
Who even
Ron,
is this guy?
back in the beginning of the year, started to go.
He's an old radio friend of Ron's from San Francisco, right?
Then they had a fall. They were friends for years, so like 20, 25 years. Then they had a falling out. It was
Right.
the way Ron handled this cumulus, what's it called? Merge with KGO. And so then he wrote a bunch of like shit talking on his blog about Ron and the mistress and all that. So that's where people found out about that whole thing. And then it seems in the past couple of years, they've kind of made amends. And he did make, I don't know, has he made 3 or 4 videos before this, basically in support of the family, saying that he's spoken with Ron and Jan and believed them. And now this is the first video where it's kind of taking a little bit of a turn.
He probably talked to Dr. Leslie and she said they're totally telling the truth. Anyways.
GoFundMe page. And Ron has been dealing with many health issues, cancer, and is in an ongoing health situation with Parkinson's.
The cancer thing, so just from the transcripts of the police reports, or not even transcripts, just like from the police reports, he did say like I have cancer and stuff like that. So that's sort of thing, I guess, that he's struggling with. I try really hard not to point at someone and be like, you're a liar if I don't feel like I have to. And so I don't want to be like, he doesn't have cancer. I feel like he probably does have some serious health issues.
I mean, yeah, more than one thing can be true at the same time.
Right. Yeah. But it's really hard to separate that sometimes, because there have been times when I'm like, are you lying about everything? You know what I mean? But like some of it's true. Some
Sure.
It's not. So, all right.
Disease, which he is suffering from. And the GoFundMe page, which is still out there and was relaunched by Ron himself, has raised about $127,000. His goal was $140,000. So the Chronicle did another article about 5 days ago. And I talked to Ron, and I've spoken to Jan Black. And I actually even invited him to come on my show and to basically air it out. That was a couple of months ago.
Big mistake.
Now, the latest article, which in my opinion goes to the heart and soul of what would be constituted as journalism malpractice. The author, I'm not going to name her, it's a she, mentions the Laura Owens situation.
She's not from
And
medium.com.
She doesn't even ask him, at least not in the article I saw, about the fact that he's relaunching.
I think he's talking about the Chronicle
GoFundMe
article.
page, and doesn't ask him directly about the fact that it seems to come at a time when, there's legal fees. I asked Ron a few months back and Jan Black about this, because there was insinuations by myself, others perhaps, were these funds, some of them, being misused, and in fact paying a lawyer. At the time I said, I'll say it today with a caveat. He said no. Jan Black said no. Because that's a very, very serious allegation about using GoFundMe page, recipients sending money, or excuse me, sorry, there's a lot going on lately. People sending money ostensibly to help Ron Owens with his health maladies, expenses, medical costs, all those things. If you take that and misrepresent what you're using those funds for, it's a very serious situation, serious legal charge. He insists he was not and is not. Now, I read the article 2 times. 2 times. There's an article in SF Chronicle. I'm sure most of you
2 times, and they're still assholes.
have read the article. And I've been accused not publicly, but I've been accused of being quiet.
Well, sir, you did kind of back off once they gave you a virtual hug. So what do you?
There's no crime in being quiet.
No, there's no crime in being quiet, but there's definitely an implication.
I mean,
the irony of all ironies is I've been trying very hard to get Ron, not lately, it's been a couple of months, to come clean and explain the situation. Both Ron and Jan said because of legal situations, they cannot do that.
Well, you should come clean in a legal situation, you dumb fucks. Not Rich, but like, you know what I mean.
But Ron especially.
I want to give this guy a little bit of grace because I've been in a situation where I like believed against all odds what someone was saying, because when you really love somebody or you really care about somebody, you want to believe what they're saying. And it takes a lot for some of us to kind of get over that and to be like, wow, you're really just like a piece of shit. You know what I mean? So I don't want to rag on him too hard. But at the same time, some of what he's saying, I'm having a hard time not cracking jokes, being like, hello. You know, but at the same time, I look back on my life and like some of the stuff I've done, and I'm like, well, why didn't I see that sooner? So I don't want to be too bad on the guy.
And right now, so I've changed my stance. And I've come to the conclusion that, Ron, you have to come out and air this out.
It's Pride Month.
You could be surrounded by your lawyer. We're not here to affect the legal situation ongoing with Ron's daughter, Laura, who is under indictment. It's a very serious charges. But without talking about that, with regards to now once again asking for more money to offset your health situation, health costs, I'm sorry. And a couple of things. First off, the Chronicle, once again, showing itself to be the dimwit that it is. It has become, it's been that way. Not to press Ron Owens and to ask him directly about this latest article, which you can Google. I'm not going to link it.
Oh, he got so aggressive.
Is ridiculous. It's just mentioning it and just kind of letting Ron sort of go over it without at least addressing it directly, to me, is ridiculous. It has to be talked about and pointed out. There is a normal feeling, hey, what's he using this money for? Why is he asking for more money? Now, I want to state something. I believed Ron, and to some degree, I still believe him, but not addressing this. And I mean this in a forceful way.
Honey, no. I've been there. I get it. No.
I mean, on one hand, I kind of agree with this guy that, the mainstream media or these newspapers could do a little bit more investigation. Okay.
Well, they could also do their investigation by asking a forensic psychologist by the name of Leslie Dobson.
Oh,
doesn't mean they're more credible.
We're on a new topic, Lauren.
No, it's the same topic because she's commenting on this case now. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But I had the same concerns. It's like, look, if you're going to write a newspaper article, you're one of these people, that's all you do, that's your full-time job, you could get a little deeper here.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have the same criticism he had.
All right.
But on the other hand, he's been very wishy-washy about this whole GoFundMe, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas from the beginning, I said, look, if you're going to do a GoFundMe, and this is reflected in my comment on his page, which is almost identical to other comments I've made on his page that he's never replied to. If you want to do a transparent GoFundMe, you post your bills, you do the GoFundMe for the amount of the bills, then you pay the bills, then you post the receipts.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a very clear, transparent process you can follow. Yeah. The problem is nobody's ever followed this process. So it doesn't matter whether you're like, well, I trust Ron and I believe him, or well, now he's asking for too much, so I don't believe him. Like none of that, that's all emotion-based thinking. And none of that is going to get you to the truth. What you need to do is show the evidence. If you truly have medical bills, you need to show them, do a GoFundMe, pay them, and show the receipts. That is a chain of evidence that we can follow and have confidence that the GoFundMe is being used for reasonable purposes in America where we have a healthcare problem. Now, a lot of people have argued that Ron probably has a lot of insurance or Medicare and things like this and doesn't need a GoFundMe. These are interesting ideas as well, which the GoFundMe does not address.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to a little bit more, but most of these comments are echoing kind of the same sentiment. So let's hang on. We're listening at 1.75. So
Ron, come clean. Not that you fabricated anything. Just tell people what the situation is.
You totally have.
Jan Black, Ron's wife, for over 40 years now, because there's a lot of innuendo and gossip, and it does nothing to further the belief held by many. And
it's not gossip, bro. It happened.
Very reasonable thought that what is this money actually? Where is it going? What is it being used for? Tell us that. Convince us that this is not being misrepresented and that the money, at least some of the money, is not going to a legal situation or a lawyer. It would at least offset the complete, very, very, as I just said, reasonable conclusion that something smells to high heaven here. Now, if I was somebody, like I would try to be, somebody with no dog in the fight and looking at this as objectively as possible, I would reasonably say, he's asking once again for money.
I mean, he's arrived at the point, which is great, but we'll see what he says next.
They've raised now almost $128,000, a lot of money. And of course, the goal was around $140,000. Why $140,000? I have no idea, but whatever. But not to address this. And at the same time,
$140,000 because they keep raising the bar every time they meet it. So it's not like a set medical bill they actually need to pay.
Yeah.
They're just being grifting fuckheads. So
yeah, apparently.
Somebody says
He's got a
Medicare.
great radio voice, though, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was his job, right? Medicare doesn't pay for everything. No, that's
Yeah,
true. But he
absolutely.
had private insurance. Didn't he have private insurance as well?
Well, I mean, that's what we're saying. So if he
Right.
has bills he has to pay,
Sure.
why can't they show them as part of this GoFundMe?
And why all of
Then-
a sudden now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Why is this
Or-
thing
Never
Never
being
been a problem
done
before.
at right around the exact same time that this Maricopa County Attorney's Office investigation is getting into high gear and they're about to execute a search warrant? Why is this happening right then?
Mhm.
The timing it has an appearance of impropriety, even if there is no impropriety. And, you know, when you do these corporate ethics classes or whatever, they teach you about how the appearance is just as bad as an actual bad act. So you have to avoid even the appearance of impropriety,
Right.
regards to ethical rules of conduct in a profession.
You think when making $1 million he didn't get insurance? No, probably not. Timing is sus. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Hold on, let me read these real quick. Connie Garvey, thank you for the 5. There were also many people in my high school who had multiple medical problems like myself. We weren't faking it. Yeah. Hear me out. Thank you for the 5. I officially diagnosed LO as a crazy bitch a year ago. Professional training be damned. Well, you know, I agree
Oh,
with that,
boy.
but you know, unfortunately, Dr. Leslie Dobson thinks that she has to have a degree for that. So let's we'll move here.
and this should have been brought up in the Chronicle, and it was, but very, very minutely, almost obscure. And it first of all, it only further adds to more speculation. And it creates the impression of some impropriety. Once again, not proven. Ron Owens denies it. Jan Black said there's absolutely no situation where we're taking that money.
Yeah, and I denied that I threw a piece of cheese that I named Steve at my teacher's window in middle school. But that doesn't mean
Oh
anything.
boy. We know you did it, Lauren. We have the evidence.
Yeah,
in
it's
your
written
diary.
down here, man. Like, what the fuck?
For some of it, and paying a lawyer off. They told me at the time,
Subpoenaing your
both Jan
diary.
and Ron, that they had a lawyer who was working this case pro bono, a legal term of gratis free. Now, again, do I believe them? I did at the time. I still believe them, but
Well,
you,
he's not
you gotta
representing
erase
her
this
anymore,
Well-
guy.
very significant.
Not anymore.
The-
Not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the detail there was, and Gingras has explained this, right? He was paid for the original court case,
Yeah.
probably with a big retainer that he went through.
Yeah.
And then once the original case was over, he did the appeal without requiring more money. And then when the appeal is over, he's done. But there's no way they're going to get this criminal attorney, this new attorney, without
No.
some retainer, right?
No, definitely not.
Mhm.
I mean, it's unlikely.
I mean, David.
Right.
was
There's no
almost
way they would get it
certainly-
without a retainer.
Yeah.
David was never worth his retainer, so let's be honest.
Well-
It's not like
But if we're to take him at his word, he was paid something for the original case, but then he did
yeah,
the
because I
appeal
like to
work
take
for free.
David at his fucking word, Bruce.
I
The
mean,
case is not famous enough for him to do a pro bono. He 100% has a retainer.
the criminal attorney, Omar.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
No, I'm
that's
still
what-
talking about David. Shoot.
Oh, no, I forgot about that. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah,
I mean, David
the-
told multiple people that he was not getting paid for, like, even privately, he told people he wasn't getting paid for the appeal.
the appeal work, yeah. So there's 3 phases here. There's the main case, the appeal, and then there's this criminal case.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not getting paid for the appeal, and I'm not getting paid for blowing
just-
on Fifth Avenue.
I just don't want to conflate those 3 things because they're all different.
Are we just gonna let that go?
No conflating.
I mean, I did
No
just say I was a
conflatio.
prostitute, and we're just like not gonna comment on that. That's fine. All right. Anyways, we're gonna move on with this because I got
Wait.
pizza coming in 20 minutes, and I don't
Prostitutes?
care
What?
enough about you guys for that. So.
Significant question. There's a series of questions. The Chronicle didn't do that, nor did the author of this article. And that's very distressing, frankly, ridiculous. I keep saying that word ridiculous. Talk about an elephant in the room and making matters even worse. 2 articles at the beginning of the year that launched the first GoFundMe campaign wasn't even brought up. This case with Ron's daughter is now over 2 years old. And I said that the other side
Mr. Sir, let's be honest. It's been going on for over 10 years.
on this, these are the people that
That's
believe
fair.
or work with this bachelor guy.
Mr. Sir.
This bachelor guy, Mr. Rich Lieberman, this bachelor guy has a fucking name, but let's not say it because it might just give Laura some bad press.
Do you think
Then
Rich
maybe
has 3 hours? I can ramp him up on the case. If he and I got together, I could ramp him
wouldn't
up on the
bother.
case. you
Anytime
think-
Ron gives this man a phone call, he's gonna melt and be back to square one. So it's like whatever. And I understand
Or
it.
Rich here.
I've been there and I've done that, and I understand it. So I want to have some sympathy here for Mr. Rich. But at the end of the day, you're gonna be embarrassed, just like I was, sir. So just be prepared for that.
There was some questionable situation regarding people who maybe had an axe to grind. Well, now, after this latest article, it is downright ridiculous that Ron was not pressed about this. Coincidence? I doubt that. I'm skeptical now myself, and I'm willing to leave the benefit of the doubt, frankly, folks, because I know Ron has had issues in life, of course.
We've all had fucking issues, Rich. We haven't all faked babies.
The cancer, Parkinson's disease, which necessitated the move to Arizona, where he lives now. He used to live in San Francisco and moved to Scottsdale a couple of years ago.
If I have kids and they ever fake a pregnancy, they're done. I'm done with them. No, absolutely not. This was a voluntary thing.
To alleviate the onset
my
of
opinion.
Parkinson's and believe that a warmer climate would be more, shall we say, conducive to dealing with this very serious health issue. But now I've reached the conclusion that Ron doesn't necessarily have to be my show. Ron has to come out and address this directly, explain, state categorically that the money, none of the money has been or will be.
He still thinks he gives enough of a fuck to do that. That's amazing.
What the hell is this guy on about, man?
Well, I mean, it's the problem is he's coming to an emotional conclusion. Like he's saying things like Ron has to come out and explain himself, whereas before he didn't say that. The thing is, the evidence that we have, the information we have, the facts that we have been unchanging. And what I want to do is I just want to look at the case. I want to look at the facts. I want to look at what do we know about, what do we not know. And he's sort of coming at it from I don't know, it's weird. He's sort of publicly saying, hey, Ron, I used to be your friend. I want you to do X, Y, Z. I mean, he should be waiting for Ron to call him, to go back to the beginning of the show. If you have a problem with someone, you call them. If you don't have their phone number, you don't know them well enough to have a problem with them. So I don't know why he's dealing with his emotional problems on his show here, instead of just looking at the evidence and the facts and reporting on those.
Well, Bruce, in fairness, I have talked about Kanye on my show when I had problems with him, and he's never called me. So
What? Well,
just saying.
well, that's commentary. I feel like Rich here is not merely doing commentary. He's
holding himself out to be a journalist?
What's that?
Is he holding himself out to be a journalist?
If you want to be a journalist, you got to go against your friend here.
I'm not
sorry.
sure. I mean, he has a vlog, but it's more of an op-ed sort of vlog. And it's and this part in particular, which I'm really picking apart here, is he's saying, hey, Ron, you have to become transparent now that I have seen you raise the limit of your GoFundMe, now that your daughter has been indicted with 7 felonies. He's like, oh, the watermark has gone so high that now I need to see something and the trust has been eroded. That's really what he's saying here. He's just doing it in a very, I don't know, in a way where he's talking to Ron instead of talking to the internet,
Right.
which
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
kinda-
think is, I don't think it's the best mechanism.
No, you're right. It should be a conversation between him and his old friend.
It reminds me of one of my diary entries to Sean.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Omar and I were getting
Same
somewhere.
Words.
Lauren.
Oh my god. Omar and you were getting somewhere. That's a fucking joke. All right. Anyways,
Jesus.
Let's move on.
Damn.
To pay a lawyer, legal expenses, what have you. Because there is this question now, and I'd be a fool if at least didn't address it. And I'd also be, as I stated at the beginning of this broadcast, I would not be critical in my own way by not talking about it. Because I've spoken to all of you about my relationship growing up as I did in the Bay Area and being able to both meet Ron Owens and Jan, but to have a friendship with Ron that lasted a good 25 years, a time when I was a teen, 13 years old, and explained to all of you, and I've talked about it, written about it, that I viewed Ron as kind of a legendary figure that he eventually became, with his awards, popularity, the fact that he was sort of the big horse amongst that stable of KGO radio greats, which made KGO the other hosts too. And I can think of Jim Dunbar, who also did news, and people like Art Finley, more recently, John Rothman, Pat Thurston, who I very much enjoyed, both of them as talk show hosts. Ron Owens was at the king of, maybe king is not a good word to use these days, but Ron was at the forefront of what made KGO great.
Oh my God, you're long-winded.
Well.
I'm so
the
sorry,
place where he met Jan Black.
He definitely knows how to digress.
And look, I know, and I spoke about this.
I got no problems with this man, but we're gonna read through.
That is very much a radio talk show thing to do, to just like name drop 150 people who like laid the foundation of their radio station, and I'm not. So could you just get on with it?
Yeah, it's a very showbiz
but when you
sort of
have
style.
the situation simultaneously with your daughter, and that's expensive to defend criminal cases, especially, and not have the normal assumption by many that there is something going on here. Well, there's many people have an assumption there's something going on here correctly because she lied in court in front of us while I had the camera on her. So fuck.
Right.
Right. Let's see. Here are something fishy taking place, not to mention the fact there's been a second relaunching of this GoFundMe campaign, telling people to donate again, please. I need more money. God damn it. And to not draw the conclusion about something is the money being used in the manner which being presented. Rich, are you listening to yourself, man? You're talking in circles here. I get it. I've been there. But fuck, man. Oh my God. Just say it's a fraud. I've been quiet. I haven't been quiet because I wanted to be quiet. I started my case. I have spoken to Ron 4 or 5 times, have not spoken to him in a couple months. Oh, no, of course not. He only speaks to you when he needs you. I know he watches this show, as does Honey. No, not unless you're talking about him. Oh my God. Okay. As is Jan, I know it probably we'll hear from both. It's time now that Ron and Jan, but especially Ron, at least addresses this. They're not going to address it, but they will probably reach out to you via text and be like, "Hey, buddy, you want to come over for drinks?" You know what I mean? Let's see. Tell us what's going on, and that it's all you got to do after that somebody agrees or disagrees or what. I'm talking faster than the rich would, so just bear with me here. You stated on the record where exactly the money is going to, and that's it addressed to deal with what are you saying now, sir? When I say come clean, I'm not suggesting that they've either lied or misrepresented, but people who feel this way deserve at this point to be heard and be at least address their concerns and allegations. I think it's fair game. This has become public again, and not to at least have an author the article rather than news writer. I do not understand what's happening here. I'm gonna skip over this shit. Let's see. Ron and talk about this and set the record straight may not be the answers people want to hear, but at least you can address this, because until you address this, it's going to be ongoing gossip and innuendo. If that's the case, rumor mongering. Oh my word, Rich. Sentences, please.
I think I think we hit the crux of it.
Man,
He's looking for transparency.
I'm not done with my run-on sentence, Bruce.
Rumor
mongering that.
I'm trying to save you some time, Lauren. I think we hit it.
Rumor mongering that does nothing to help your case, Ron or Jan's, or for the matter, Laura Owens. There's simply too much situations involving is he telling the truth or not? There's a lot of scuttlebutt taking place. with good reason. So, okay, we've addressed that. I will make a comment about something entirely different, but about my own situation here. YouTube show. Again, I'm inviting many of you who please read or watch me now to contribute so that I can continue to give you news that you're not going to get anywhere else. I'll be more specific in a later broadcast. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Woo! All gone.
There you go.
You could have put that in an email.
Right?
Oh no, that meeting could have been an email.
That was a long fucking transcript. There were no periods in there, by the way, guys.
That's what she said.
No.
Oh boy.
No, she told me she was on a period. Just ask your mom, man.
Oh, I don't have to ask.
I'm in danger.
Well, it's not Mother's Day, is it? Oh my gosh. All right, that's about enough of that for me. I mean, the guy wants to be Ron's friend. Ron is just using him. I mean, he's kind of on the brink of it, but I don't feel like he's going to quite get there yet because they're going to call him tomorrow and be like, "Hey, Rich, take down your video," and he probably will.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything in there to force him to take it down.
I do. No, not force, but they'll call him and
Even
they'll be like,
ask.
No, they'll be like, "Rich, take
I don't think
this
he'll do
down."
it. I don't think he'll take it down.
I do.
But we can bet on it. Let's bet.
Oh, how much?
You think he'll take his video down tomorrow?
I think he'll take it down by the end of the day tomorrow. Yes.
By the end of the day, Monday,
Mm-hmm.
Eastern
I'll
time.
take that.
Yeah.
I think he's going to leave it up.
Yeah.
Hold on. 48 hours. Give me 48 hours.
Oh,
No,
we're
Give
moving
me
the
48 You're not
GoFundMe
confident enough
now.
to give me 48 hours. That's right. That's right, because you know.
I
he's
don't
gonna
think he'll take it down in 48 hours either.
I don't think he's going to take it down. I think if
Yeah.
anything, he might post a follow-up video.
No, he's gonna take it
100%.
down. No,
I'm with that.
48 hours. No follow-up video on my end. No follow-up video. Video's taken down in 48 hours. Come on, give me
No.
that.
Okay.
I mean,
What are we
I'll
betting, though?
I'll bet that's not going to happen.
No, Bruce, you're being a pussy. Schnitzel Ninja.
What?
What are we betting?
I'm betting. I'm in.
You just said no.
Like, what is the bet though? Well, I know the bet. Like, what's the wager?
I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody's got a streak on camera, I guess.
Taco Bell. I don't.
You get
Loser
to
has
eat
to twerk on
schnitzel.
camera.
You guys lost me when you were talking over each other. What?
Loser has to talk. Loser has to twerk on camera.
But I've already
We've
done
already
that.
done that.
But it's
Two
the
of us
only.
have already
it-
done that.
well, okay. Well, it's better than streaking. I don't know.
$7. $7
No,
Taco
you've
Bell
seen
box.
us twerk. Is it really better than streaking?
Gene Jones says Rich is notorious for taking shit down. Uh-oh.
All right. You know what?
This could be a dangerous bet.
Who's on the side of 48 hours it comes down again?
You
Wait,
and
what?
Jane Jones think it's going to come down in 48 hours.
That's it. Really. Just me and Jane Jones. Okay.
Yeah.
And who's on the other side of this? It's you and Omar?
The other three of us.
Oh, three? You guys are cunts. All
I don't
right.
even know what I'm betting on. Oh, that it's going to leave it up. Yeah.
He's
I don't
going to
think
leave it
so.
up, yeah.
No, I think he takes it down in 48 hours. That's it.
No.
48 hours.
I
From now.
respect that. I just disagree.
I'll put
Okay.
$7 on it.
This is
And
my
I
wager.
disagree that
Lauren.
you're a piece of breaded shit, but here we are.
I
If
am.
he, if
It's a
he does
turd.
not take down his video within 48 hours starting right now,
What do I have to do?
you have to do a Wednesday podcast in Omar voice.
Ain't Omar. Oh, what? Wait, no, I don't know.
For
about
like 5 minutes. And you
5
have to
minutes.
do-
5 minutes.
Well, I mean, you
You
can't
don't
do the whole
usually
thing
last
like that.
5 minutes, bro.
Can't you
That's
just ask
awesome.
for $7? Come on.
No, just.
Why 7 though?
Something
Because
weirder
that's a
than that.
$7 box at Taco Bell.
Listen, man, I
Oh.
don't eat Taco Bell because it makes me shit my brains out. But like, oh, I've done Omar voice for free, so you guys got to get more creative.
You need more fiber.
No, I don't. That's definitely not the case, and I'm not going to go into detail on that.
Oh, boy.
Give me something else.
Danger.
I'll
Okay.
serenade you or some shit. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just bragging rights. It's just bragging rights. You
No,
say he'll
that's
take it
lame.
down within 48 hours. We say he won't. Bragging rights.
You have to do live karaoke on your next stream.
All
right.
Karaoke.
We can do that. We can
You
do
get
that.
to
No,
do it.
Bruce
You know
has to
what?
participate.
You will do a cover of I don't know, Hey Dude or something.
Hey, dude.
We're streaming late because I'm a singer.
Oh my God, Sabrina Carpenter's
You
here.
got to do a cover of Alanis Morissette.
All right, fine, I'll do it. But I'm not gonna have to because Rich is gonna take his video down within 48 hours. So,
Well, if he does, or if he doesn't.
if you don't, call me, Rich, because we'll do it together.
And
Alright.
I get to pick the song. Well, I guess we'll vote on one. What's the Alanis Morissette song?
No, you
Isn't
said
it
Alanis
ironic?
Morissette. You didn't say
You
you
Wanna
got to
Know?
pick the song.
You wanna
No, it's
know?
gonna be You Wanna Know.
Is that the Dave
That's-
Coulier song?
That's the one I was thinking
That's the
of.
one. Yeah.
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 No. I picked the song. Okay, but
The
it's
Dave
not gonna
Coulier
happen
song.
because Rich
Cut
is gonna take the
it
video down.
out.
Lauren, why do you get yourself into these things?
Huh?
Oh boy. Also, if Rich wants to do a live stream on his channel, I will come on his channel for 3 hours and explain the Owens v. Eckert paternity case
I
to
know,
him.
brother, but like we would all.
Bruce, don't come on anyone's channel.
What? Omar, I've come on your channel a lot.
It was very messy.
Yeah, but not to talk to Rich about GoFundMe mechanics.
Not GoFundMe is the whole case. I don't think he understands the case.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I
You
don't
weren't
think
being
he-
specific enough. Yeah.
No, I said the Owens v. Eckert case.
No, he has no idea what's going on.
That's what I'm saying.
Obviously.
Somebody needs to walk him through it. We
And
also
that's
need
why
to
I'm
do
gonna
that
have
for
sing
Anita.
Alanis fucking Morissette. dude.
We need to explain the case to Anita sometime too.
Oh, Anita's gonna
Probably
oh,
when
no.
it's not 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah. I still gotta talk to her about this lively case. She's still depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, she and I both, but here we are taking down on that psychologist, so we're fine. Okay. All right, guys, I gotta go because I gotta eat some mac and cheese and go to bed. Bye.
Healthy.
Bye.
Sorry, that was abrupt. I didn't mean it like that. But, you know what I mean.
We're still
Like, I gotta
here, I
go.
guess. Okay.
No, I gotta go though because it's midnight and I got work tomorrow. And
Keep trying.
I'm
All
sad
right,
and
the
tired.
crazy kids.
Damn it, I'm sad and tired like Anita. So we gotta go. All right, bye
Well, we
everyone.
love
Thanks
you,
for
man.
joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Bye, everyone. You take care.
Yeah, see you in 2 days when Rich takes his video down. Bye.